Okay, guys, so this is another Sunday, another week in the glorious story of park operations. So here's a quick update from what's been going on this week in our Jackson MHP. And Nick will give a quick update on our electrical sub-metering project, which is now thankfully can be moving forward since Michigan is opening up. So we are able to proceed with our project.
Right. So one of the things we've accomplished this week, actually, with great effort with Dimitri, with one of our partners, talking with Consumer Energy. Initial quote they gave us about 3-4 months ago was roughly around $45,000 to actually their part on converting from master meter to basically direct to tenant. That's only their part. Now we have to get the electrician to basically connect everything, and that's another X amount of dollars. So for their part, a $40,000 bid 4 months ago, came up to about almost $100,000 bid about 2 weeks ago, right? So essentially, they said that they would have to pay $1,500. We would have to pay $1,500 per lot to activate it, alongside the work they need to do to actually do the work, which is $40,000 plus at $1,500 per lot. So we were taken aback. We said this is unacceptable. We encouraged, basically we talked to Dimitri. We said, Dimitri, if you could work them and talk to them and say, listen, you're going to present that bid to us, but essentially we're not going to take it. So this deal is going to be dead. How about reducing it about 20 to 30%? And so, that was our last ditch effort. We knew that we're going to take it no matter what, because we think that it's ultimately worth it, but we didn't want to pay $90,000 for Consumer Energy side, and also pay, $50,000 for an electrician. We still had the budget for it because we budgeted that much anyway, but we wanted to do the best we can to essentially get Consumer Energy down, because that was unforeseen expense, right? It nearly almost doubled the original quote. So we managed to get them about $57,000, which is not bad, right?
Yeah.
Compared to $95,000 that they initially quoted us about 2 weeks ago. And again, we got to thank Dimitri for his hard work on that. We essentially are taking a loss on this project because right now they're getting our business, right? They're getting the business, from our park anyway. So they're they're essentially putting X amount of resource to do this for us, and they're losing money on it because they will not recoup their costs until about, X amount of years down the road. So how they got this from $90,000 to $57,000 was essentially they put it as a new account. So the reason why they put it in a new account and then basically, have a little bit of flexibility on the price was because it's a new account, quote unquote. So again, it's a matter of teaches us a lesson not to just kind of give in to whatever they ask us, because again, we got to push back. We have responsibility to our investors to really ask and push for the best deal forward, right? So again, it was a team effort, but nonetheless, we managed to get the quote down.
Yeah.
A little higher than the initial quote, but we anticipated that because it was always preliminary. Once our contract with Consumer Energy went inside, again, $95,000 to $57,000, which is not bad.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's definitely always a great idea to ask for a discount, which
Absolutely.
you lose nothing, but then you can gain greatly. And that, so yeah, that was, I guess, the big win this week, team effort, just
Absolutely.
going back and asking. So now we are able to start, right, Nick? So next week, what are we going to be working on with electrical sub-metering?
Yeah, so there's a couple of phases we need to do. One, we need to sign an easement. So we had our attorneys look at the documents for granting Consumer Energy with an easement. And then after that is to pay this deposit. It's non-refundable, so there's no turning back, right? Once we solidify Consumer Energy part, we need to solidify our contracts with our electrician. Our electrician has to do 50% of the work as well. So we need to solidify our contract with him. And then basically we commission our electrician to do the work. Once he does the pedestals and puts the wiring down, and then Consumer Energy does their side, and then our electrician picks up, connects it, and then basically turns it on and decommissions the current live pedestals now and puts it to the new ones. So it's going to take a sandwich approach, right? So consumer energy, our electrician does their work, then consumer energy, then our electrician does his work, and then basically we go ahead and turn it on. That project's going to take about maybe 3 months to do. A lot of the work is going to be done with our electrician, but consumer energy maybe about 3 or 4 days of their work, and then our electrician again on the back end.
Yeah.
So it's going to take about 3 months, but
yeah.
nonetheless, all worth it. Right?
Yeah. No, it's great that we can finally proceed and move forward. We got final quotes, so now next week the paperwork is gonna be submitted and we're gonna get going, which is very exciting. So big project, huge project.
Absolutely.
For us, and big part of our turnaround plan. So it's very exciting that we can get this finally moving now as business opens up in Michigan. So that's great. One more thing, well, a couple of other things that we wanted to just update you on. A couple of weeks back, I believe, we mentioned that we were looking into storage. Another partner of ours, Maria, she was looking into storage solutions for our tenants. And we thought that, okay, maybe we will investigate what we currently have in our park that we could reuse or use better and optimize for our tenants. And one of those items was we had this old laundry room right here that was not used for the longest time. So since we took over the park, we opened it up and we saw that, wow, that's so it looks like a lot of junk inside. And what we could do is we could probably just sell this to the scrap yard and empty it out. Thankfully, at this time we have dumpsters in the park because we're doing the spring cleaning anyway, so it all coincides. So this week and maybe next week as well, we're gonna take time to clean this out. And as you could see maybe from the pictures, it turns out this laundry room is quite spacious. So for the time being, for the very first few months, it could definitely maybe more than enough for current tenants to store and to use it as additional storage. You can put in, shelving, containers, just something smaller solutions, and we could use this for as we expand in the park. Then we could look into some larger solutions. But again, for the first time, that could be plenty, and it was really beneficial to see that. Well, that's a lot of junk that's going to be hauled out, but the room, as you can see, it's quite spacious. So that is a good news for us. So after we find it,
our next step is to measure this, subdivide it into maybe four or five different storage units, interior, and sell it as a climate controlled, subdivided, storage, extra storage for our residents, right?
Yeah.
This only adds NOI. Right?
Absolutely.
That's the bottom line. So.
Yep. And talking about adding value to the park, right? So storage, amazing, since this laundry has not been used forever. Talking about adding value and prettying up the park overall. So we mentioned we have spring cleaning happening right now. So instead of one dumpster that we initially thought will be enough, I think we are on our third dumpster at this point, and it's not even finished. So we're just doing this. We're doing whatever is needed because, and hope next time we will be able to show you some pictures of how tenants are improving their yards and making them really pretty and prettying up their homes. But one thing which is rather a big thing for us this week is we mentioned that we had one of the tenants' porches was dilapidating, and we got a notice from the state that it doesn't look safe. It needs to be repaired. And we talked to the tenant, and the tenant is an older lady who had obviously a hard time just repairing the home or the structure herself. So And as you might see, there is junk in the porch and the structure. So from that standpoint, we thought, okay, we do ask her to repair, and to update this, we need to report back to the state, with to send proof that it's been compliant now. Well, the thing is, we probably found out in the course of this week that the tenant might not be doing her part. Okay. So what we went ahead and did anyway is this. So this is how the porch looks right now. We do realize that our tenant might not be cooperating and might end up moving out anyway after the pandemic is over, because we do need tenants be responsible tenants in our park and do their part and keep their structures and their homes and surrounding areas clean. But if they don't comply or they don't take their part, we will still do our part, and
Right.
we'll make the park look clean and pretty. And so
Right.
this is what we did. The porch is now repaired. So
Yeah.
yeah, Nick,
Just provide some context in that. So
please.
essentially, we have a lease that allows us to step in and to basically clean their lot or fix their lot if they refuse to, right? Because we have the integrity of the park we need to keep up. So we put a loophole in the lease and in the rules and regulations stating that if they do not do their part after multiple warnings and violations, we have the right to come in there and essentially charge them for the work we're going to do to make sure that that we keep the standards for the local ordinances and the state ordinances, right? So we have that right to do that. So without that in our contract and without that in our rules and regulations, our hands are tied, right? Because it's a tenant-owned home. She could say, I don't want to do anything, and we're kind of out of luck. And we told her, no, that's not how it works. We have this notification from the state saying that you are out of compliance. They have the right to cite you and the right to condemn your home. So unless you fix this, which you have not done it because you had multiple violations, we're going to step in and do it, and we're going to charge you for it. So essentially, that's what we did. We basically got some bids to fix this, and essentially we are passing on that bid to her, and we're going to have her pay it in an amount of 12 months. So essentially, we're breaking up that payment in 12 months, and we're adding that to the rent. But because we have the ability to do that, the legal ability to do that, per the lease and rules and regulations, and also essentially we need to make sure we're complying with the state. If you refuse to, then we could just say, okay, well, we're not going to do anything and let the state condemn our home. That's no fault of ours. It's a tenant owned, it's not a rental. So essentially we could do that. We wanted to side with helping her out, at the same time create goodwill with our residents, because this is the only bad apple home in our whole community. And essentially we could just let her go and have it condemned. We chose to take the higher road and really pay for it up front. And then again, from there, we're not profiting. We're not charging her interest. We're not profiting it at all. We just want to help her out. But she has an obligation. She has to pay us back. And two, she has to maintain the debris outside and interior of this porch to make sure that she complies with the rules. If she does not comply with the rules, then we're not going to renew her lease, right? Because she's month to month as a lot leaser, and we're not going to renew it, and then she's going to be out, right? So essentially, we have a little bit of dialogue with her to make sure that she complies with the rules, right? Because believe me, the picture you shown here was years and years of neglect, and we just don't want that to happen.
Yeah, the previous one,
Yeah, this was years and years of neglect. You should have seen the pictures before. She had all this debris in front of her home. It was really bad. It was really bad. Yeah. But again, it's not the impression we want to give future residents,
Exactly.
Because we're still kind of improving the park and renting the homes out, or not renting, but selling the homes. We want to make sure they see this as opposed to the last picture.
Yep, that's right.
That's how we decided to step in,
Yep. So yeah, that's just a highlight of a couple of items that we were working on this week, and we'll keep you updated. It's all great work, really team effort. There are lots of projects to be completed, and we just added every day, every week, and looking forward to making this park a like really, really beautiful community for families to live, and that ultimately the project that is uh, bringing value to our partners, to our investors, and the residents. So yeah, thank you. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you. Thanks, Katrina.